it's that time. Podcast with Cockney Buddha. It's all about getting real over here in sunny Florida. I do have a certification in helping others and guiding others, and I love what I do. This is a way of me to connect out there to you guys out there. This one has a few different things in it tonight. I've got a couple of situations that I got myself into with my own anxieties. And I like to share what I did to get through that so I can teach you guys. There's also some funnies with some things that happened today with my missus, and even that I started to work out something that I can actually use for my own fears. Big shout out there to Jobeth for putting out an absolute banging interview with her dad. Go and check it out on Instagram. Look up Jobeth. If you can't find her directly, go and have a look on my, she's on my profile. And it kind of, brings me into part of my day, really, because it's been a banging couple of days, really. And there's been a lot of wins. Yeah, right, all right. We need the wins, right? We gotta have those wins, man. Holy shit! Hang on a minute. Let's. Oh yes, thank you. Yes, Loretta, yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, I've had the wins. Yes, I love it. So, yeah. So it started off friggin' awesome. I got out this morning and I dropped a video on my YouTube site. Go and check it out, guys, please, if you would, and give me some love. Get the message out there. Let's punch it out there. Also on my YouTube channel, I do a live. So far, it's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. GMT time, and I do a live on Sundays. The time may change, I don't know, but there's a good few people that show up and they enjoy it, and it gives them a little bit of help and pushes them in the right directions and just sets it up ready for that Monday. So come and check it out. If you tune in, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but if you could be so kind as to give me a little love and give me a bit of a subscribe and give me the old thumbs up or whatever. Yeah, even across this podcast, whatever platform you're looking at it on, or looking at it on, or listening to it on, then just give me that. Give me some love, guys, if you would. But yeah, I had some interesting situations happen today, but I want to read this as well first. Let me kick off with this because I got one of that. I think you've heard it before if you listen to my podcast. My wife bought me one of those calendars, the Unfuck Yourself. If you go and read the book, Gary John Bishop is the guy, is the author. Unfuck Yourself, and it's a banging book, and it's more progressive as well. Well, she got me the calendar. My wife got me the calendar, and for the weekend, it says, "What is it that separates successful people from you and me? They understand, consciously or otherwise, one simple thing. What they think and what they do don't always have to align." And I thought, because it kind of brought me to what I want to talk about and the situations I was into today and last night. And by the way, like I say, go and give Jobeth a shout and go and have a look at the interview she did with her dad. I was carrying my phone around the house watching it, and the fella is he sounds like a straight up guy that's really taught the kids good ways in the way of the mind and stuff. By the sound of it, from what I've been seeing, as I say, I don't know. I just watched it this morning, and so big shout out to Jobeth. Go and check the site out. And she's got a great podcast out there as well, and has interviewed quite a good few people. And go and check that out. And a big shout out to Beckett Johnson as well. If you listen in, believe it's on the 8th. The podcast is going to be dropping that I did with him, and we're in talks and to get something together and get a project going. And big shout out to him today, because he had a bit of a bad headache, and I know what they're like. I've had a few of those in the past couple of weeks. So big shout out to him. I hope he's feeling better. I hope you're feeling better, matey. So I want to get to like the first bit of like how it started, and Friday, so last night, and I'm going across to an absolute beautiful friend of mine who's an artist. And we went to the local theatre in the town. Big shout out to the DeLand Theatre out there. Awesome place. Awesome. I would rather go to theatre than watch a movie, to tell you the truth. And I know some people will probably go, ooh, but I just love the artistic part of watching something live in front of me just unfold. And I don't know. I've always enjoyed theatre. Even when I lived in London, there was a time I remember walking up Shaftesbury Avenue, which is called Theatreland as well, nicknamed Theatreland because of all the theatres up there. And saw this one. It said it was they wanted an audience to so they can practice, basically, like with a live audience. And I remember getting in on that, and it was absolutely awesome. It was really good, and it was like cheaper tickets, and I'd take that over any time because you saw the mistakes happen and how they covered it up, and it was brilliant. But so yeah, we went to the theatre. So first of all, that's one win for me, and I told my friend about it because normally I will back out. My anxiety starts picking up, and the what ifs start taking over. And when you've got bloody what ifs start taking over, you're already not on the right. You're not putting the foot is going backwards, not forwards. Not one foot in front of the other. It's going one foot in front of the other for sure, but backwards. And it's a matter of what I did was, I remember my friend saying, "Hey, you want to go to the theatre? You said you love the theatre," and I'm like, "Yeah, I would." And I thought, "Oh shit." For a second, and I thought, no shit means fucking go for it, do it. And I turned around to my wife and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I want to do it because I love the theatre and it'll be really good. And I had an absolute freaking blast. It was absolutely awesome. Had a great conversation with my friend. We got into some really good, subjects, and her being the artist too, to get her opinion of what's going on up on that stage afterwards. The fact that it blew her mind too, what we watched. We went and saw Rent, and holy shit, the people that were on that stage, the actors, absolutely awesome. The singing was unbelievable. It was the harmonization. It sounded like an orchestra just with the voices. And it was just this like a small band in the back. I could see a keyboard player. I believe there was a drummer and a guitar player, and they knocked it out of the park. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. Great time. And it started out in the driveway. As I was pulling out to get over to my friend's house, she lives about an hour away, and I'm lost at the bottom of my driveway. I got to tell you, if I ain't got a GPS, mate, it's like, oh no, where do I go? And my wife has that uncanny thing of driving it once and all of a sudden it's stuck in her head and she can redo it without anything. Not me, man. I need that GPS over and over again. Because it's like, oh no, right? It's that confidence thing again, not rely. And the thing is when you rely on the GPS, you don't learn the route because you're relying on the GPS and you're not really paying attention. You're just following, right? So, I've been out to a house before and I still needed the GPS. But anyway, I get in the car, and my freaking wife's car. Listen. Oh God. The thing with, you know, and then she has a go at me because there's the two setting thing, you know, where you, like, she's got the number one spot, right, where she sets everything up, hits the button, then it knows, you know, and then it comes up with a name on the panel, and you hit your name, and you know, and it, you know, freaking Star Wars shit, all starts bloody, you know, adjusting yourself. I've freaking never seen it before in my life, shit like this, right? Oh dear! When I got my truck, because I used to landscape, and when I got my truck, I'm like, I don't want any electric shit, anything. I want it manual. I want to be able to drive it. And I still don't know my wife's car at all, because it's like, yeah. Anyway, you get in the damn thing, and ET starts playing. So her car, I have got no idea. So I'm trying to set my phone up in the GPS to recognise my friend's house, and it's not going in. So and then I'm tapping on the screen that's in the car, and I can't get it to recognise anything there either. And it's probably something I was cocking up or something. But I'm like now the anxiety's starting to creep up. Oh shit. Oh boy, because I'm like, I know that I'm, you know, the panic of knowing I need the GPS, don't know how to, you know, the looking at the anxiety that I already have anyway, a little bit of it, because I was still apprehensive and everything. I love my friend to death, absolutely love her to death, but there's still that apprehension. It's just like when I feared the phone and the bloody phone would ring. Now I'm good, but it takes breaking it, and this was part of it. So, but, you know, all of a sudden I can't freaking get the GPS up. Oh, shit. What do I do? So I knew my wife was on there. She was on a work call, because she was like, oh, this is a really important phone. I remember saying in the daytime, and I'm thinking, oh, no. My only way of trying to figure this out is to call my wife. as I'm sitting out there in the driveway, and I thought, I'm creeping up, and I'm like, I can't, because I can't figure the frigging motor out. And so I call her, and I can hear her saying, oh, hang on in a minute, you know, in the background. As she answers me, and she goes, you all right? And I'm like, no, not really. I'm like going in a bit of a panic attack. Oh, why? I'm like, I'd gone out there like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before. I hadn't even left the driveway yet, because I've been trying to figure the bleeding thing out. And I want to give me friend a bit of an ETA of when I'm going to be there. And I can't, because I can't get the shit up on the screen. So I kind of acted like that on the phone with me missus. So, you know, the garage door opens, out she walks, and I'm like, I can't look, and I'm banging the freaking finger into the screen. And she's like, all right, step out the car. Now I'm walking up into the garage, and I thought, right, start breathing, start calming your ass down. There's nothing you can do. You just got to leave. And I thought, go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. I come out, and my wife's getting out the motor. And I said, have you got it figured out? And she goes, it's something to do with your phone. And I'm like, oh, all right, shit. So it's not totally me. Oh, bingo lollipop. So that was the start of it. Anyway, cut long story short on the travel bit. As I'm driving out that way, I avoid the tolls and the highways and shit, and it takes you through beautiful country area. It's right out. It's beautiful out that way. You know, when you get into the country and it's trees overhanging the road, and it's just peaceful and comfortable, and it's a nice drive. And I've been out that way when I was riding the Triumph. I've ridden out that way, which is funny because I didn't realise I was there until I drove it like a few weeks back, going to my friend's house, and thought, hang on a minute, I think I've brought a bike around this way, and then I kind of remembered some of the areas. So yeah. Beautiful place out that way, which is going to come into the story. Remember, I'm going during the day. Sun's up, right? I get over to my friends. We had a great conversation, and then it was like time to get to the theatre. And, you know, beautiful person that she is. She's like, I'll drive. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we get over to the theatre, had a banging time, really good. And she surprised me because when we spoke about doing this theatre, I'd looked it up online and I thought there's no seats anywhere. There's nothing left. And she managed to, she's like, just Venmo me. And I went, all right, it was like hardly, it was like $40, I think, it was a full-on freaking play. It was a absolute banging play. I mean, I've been to plays in London and, all right, bigger production, all that, well-known theatres and all that shit. But this was like, yeah, on par, but real good. So we had a great time there. Gets out there kind of late-ish, shoots through the town over there in DeLand. Again, if you haven't been out in DeLand or you live around this way, go out and check out DeLand. It's a real nice progressive town. Some really cool little shops around there, some great little restaurants and bars that are cropping up around there. And there's like, there's like art there. It's good. It's a cool place. And so we head back to, now it's dark. So, and remember, my friend knows where she's going, obviously, because I don't live out that way. So we head back to her place and we park up and I'm like, oh shit, let me just, use the bathroom and shit, and then I'll jump in the motor and I'll peel out. So, because it was like 10:30 or something like that. And I've got like an hour trip. So we get in the car and she's standing there, thank God, and I'm like, how do I figure this out on the screen? So my wife had booked in the address of where I live and that, so I hit that, and then it came up with two options, the tolls on the highway or the back way. And my friend goes, well, you don't want to do the tolls, do you? And I love going through the country, so I'm like, no, I'll do the back roads. So oh yeah, do the back road. And I did enjoy it because I had to freaking tune in, and this is what I'm going to tell you. So here I am, I put the GPS on, I'm following the GPS, and as I'm friggin' approaching the area where it all of a sudden lights out, and I didn't realise it literally was frickin' lights out. There's no street lighting, you got to rely on your headlamps, and my wife's headlamps are like automatic, so it will go to high beams, and if something's coming the other way, it'll like dip them quick, so you're not blinding the other people. And they're not working for me. And all of a sudden, I hit the area, and it's like freaking miles I'm going to be driving. I think it was like 5 miles or so that I'm going to be driving. It's like, keep following for the next 5 miles. And I'm like, oh, shit, I can't figure it. So there I am driving. Now my anxiety's going up a bit because it's all twisty-turny. It's all through the freaking country, all through there. And, there's freaking animals everywhere because, as we gradually just push them out of their environment, we expect them not to come walking out in the road in front of the traffic. Humans are expecting animals, to just stay in their place as we just turf them out of their areas. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, shit, I don't want to be hitting an animal, and I don't know how to get the freaking lights to recognise me so I can just put both hands where they need to be, because now I've got the lever forward, keeping the beams on, and then flicking it back when So at some point, I don't know what I did, but all of a sudden, the lights started working. So I'm like, oh, I've got it set. Okay, cool. And I am listening to this banging, frickin' music. Holy shit. I'll have to put it up in the bloody description. I'll bang it up in there if I remember. I should remember it because it was like it was a right, but yeah, pumping kind of industrially dance sort of mixed DJ stuff, right? And I started going into a bit some anxiety because all of a sudden I'm like, this could be the way I go out when a freaking either something small's going to run in front of me and I'm going to lose my shit because I hit it, or I'm going to have a freaking deer come in front of me that's just going to kill me and run off. So I'm like, uh-oh. And all of a sudden I heard fucking Dan Cov, who's in our group, and I heard him say, you know what to do. And I'm like, okay, you do. Breathe. That's the first point of call, was breathe. So I just started slowing my fucking breath down, started relaxing on the wheel. I turned the music up, actually, some. I wound the window down. That's because I'm thinking, right, just go to your senses and start bringing your shit in so you can tune into certain things. So now you got wind coming through the window. You got the sounds banging pretty good. You're looking dead forward. You know how to drive, looking at your freaking bends and shit. The lights are taking care of it. And I just started slowing my freaking breath down. Right down. I remember reading an article on an app called Medium. By the way, great app. Go and check that out. It's called Medium. And I read an article on there once, which it was a bomb squad guy, and he was reporting on how they slow their heart rate down as they're going into a device, because you've got to keep a clear head. And they talk about the breathing work and shit like that, because they were saying you never know, you could turn up to something and they've got no idea what it is, or something's changed or anything like that. And if you don't have that frigging breathing down, you're looking at trouble, right? So I'm like, okay. So I read that article. I remember reading that article on the freaking breath work and slowing the shit down and that. So, this stuff works, right? So I started breathing it anyway. I'm going through, it was actually a good drive in the end, because I'm like pegging through all these like freaking really nice areas, but it's freaking absolute pitch black. And that's what I did. It's a matter of tuning in, feeling that you're going in somewhere with panic or whatever, and tuning into that. And knowing what to do, using the tools. I'm going to do a little breath work on this as well, and I don't want you driving. If you're driving or you're using machinery or anything like that, yeah, listen, don't be silly, yeah? You know the freaking score, right? You don't go playing around with meditation and fucking using shit like that and then, saying, oh, I hurt. No, I ain't any part of anybody hurting themselves, right? So I'm saying don't be using any fucking machinery or driving or anything when we get some little bit of the breath work, because I want to bring some of that in. And the other thing that happened to me was today. Can't remember what triggered it actually, but I started to go into one a bit, and we were getting ready to go out and get some food. My wife and I said, let's go out for lunch, right? Which turned out to be freaking absolutely awesome. I'm going to be telling you some of the shit that happened that was making us laugh. But I was in the house, started going into some anxiety. I remember walking into near to where the kitchen is and seeing my wife, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm starting to go into one. And she said, you be careful what you say to guys, people. I mean, if you've got someone there that's like losing control a little bit, what she said to me was, oh, so we're not going out then? And that's not the thing to have said. Oh no, Timber. Oh dear me. So anyway, I freaking started going into one, and I thought, right. I sat in the chair, and I thought, right, tune into the music. So as I shut my eyes down, I grabbed the remote and I banged the music up. I started turning the music up, hearing that you know what to do, right? So I turned the music up, and I'm listening to the music, and I'm tuning into the music. I'm just letting that music just take me. Just freaking start. It had a really good kind of rhythm to it, and I ended up saving the channel, actually. It was on YouTube, and it had a really good freaking rhythm going with it, and I thought, okay, this is doing it. So I tuned into the music, and then just said breath, tune in. And I thought, right. And I went into bike. I sat up right. I got onto the edge of the seat. I got my feet flat, straight on the floor. I kept a straight back, like I was on freaking hanging from a tree. Like, you know, if you hang from an ornament from a Christmas tree with a straight back, arms hanging. And just tuned into the sound of the music without overthinking any of it, and started slowing that breath down. Completely slowing that breath down. And I want to do a little bit of that with you guys, if I can, please. So, and again, listen, I'm telling you now, no driving, no using machinery, nothing like that, please. Okay, let's not be silly. I just want to do a little breath work, just so that you got a little something of what I was doing. This is exactly what I was doing, and these are the things that you can pull in. And don't expect it to work just like that. It doesn't. You know, it took me a little time of keep on bringing it back to breath. Keep on tuning in, saying tune into the sound, slowing the breath down. It takes practice and it takes work. If you practice it every day in a meditation, by meditating daily, you will bring these things in as a tool, because it's like training for something. If you're going to run a marathon, you don't just get up, put your shoes on and run a marathon, right? You get better at it by training to get there. And that's what meditation is, to where you're using it as a tool and a way for your mind, and you can tune into this. But it's good to know it before you actually get into a crisis, because once you get into the crisis, you want to know this shit like the back of your hand. So, and I meditate like crazy. So I got myself upright, went into Buddha pose with the right hand over the left, touching thumbs. Right, slow down. So here's what I want to do, guys. I just want to bring in some music, just some background sound. Just want to bring this up. What I want you to do is just start, as I bring this in, just start slowing down. Just sit upright if you're sitting. Bring your back straight. Start slowing the breath down. Just tune in. Don't rush anything. Take a nice deep breath in. Allowing a little pause at the top. And then allowing that breath to just release nice and easy. Don't overthink it. Don't rush it. Just allow it to just remove itself from your body without any stress, without any rush. And just tune into the sound as you start slowing down your breath. What does the sound tell you? Where is it taking you? Another nice long deep breath in. Pausing at the top. And then releasing the breath. And as you breathe in, guys, bring that belly out. Start bringing that, concentrating on that diaphragmatic breathing, where you pulling that belly outwards as you breathe in your lungs. Think of your lungs as big balloons that you're filling up with air. And by the way, you don't have to be sitting up for this either. You can lay down. But what I do suggest is that you put like a towel or something underneath your knees and maybe one underneath your neck, just so you can get yourself flat and comfortable. And then put your arms down beside you with your palms up. And do the same thing as if you was sitting. And just allowing that breath just to slow down a little bit more now. Taking easy, long, controlled breaths. Allowing the belly button to come towards the backbone with the breath out. No need to rush it. Just allow. And as you have thinking coming in, which you will, but as you have that thinking coming in, just tell yourself that you're thinking and allow it to drift. It has no place in the now. It's trying to tell you things, probably what you got to do, what you haven't done, could be bringing you down. It doesn't have a place now. So allow it to just move and relax. Relax in the breath. One last long, nice deep breath in. Holding at the top. And allowing the breath to just release. Allowing it to go. And I'm going to count from 1 to 5 and you'll start stepping up out of the meditation. 1, 2, start coming into the room a little bit more. 3, wiggling the fingers and the toes. 4, coming into your body more now. Coming back up, knowing where you're at. 5, blink the eyes open. And that is what you do. It sounds very simple, but it only works if you do it, right? It's only going to work if you practice this. This working with mental health is a practice that you use tools to be able to handle what's going on and how your thinking is going. So I tuned straight into the music, started slowing my breath down. And there's a couple of things I'm gonna share with you. And one of those things that I kind of learned today was redirecting your senses, because that's what it's about. You're programmed with all your senses. So anything that you're fearing is coming from somewhere. There's a fear there. And sometimes you're looking at something and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever why you're fearing it. But it's coming from somewhere. There's a fear. And a lot of those things is when you're feeling no worth or you're insecure about something, someone could say something and insecurity comes in, boom, you're fucking gone, right? But redirect the senses. So, I'll give you an example. There was something that happened with my wife today, which was absolutely, I was like, holy shit. And she's really good at parking. Like absolutely brilliant at parking, right? And she's so confident in the freaking car with her parking as well. She puts me to shame. I'm absolutely fucking shit at it. In fact, thank God for backup cameras now, because it actually gave me a little bit more confidence, because when it was the old cars with absolutely no cameras whatsoever, yes, this guy here, especially with a stick shift, right, trying to reverse park, holy shit, yeah, now and again I did it, but jeez, nerve-wracking. Don't know if you're near the frickin' curb, the car behind you, there ain't no beeping, letting you know, hey, numbnuts, you're about to smash into me. There wasn't none of that shit. You had to figure it out. And looking at your rear, of course, your side mirrors, right? They don't actually give you the actual true images, what's actually there, how close shit is or anything like that. So, I was that guy who was getting out, looking around the car. Oh, yeah, keep going. Yeah. So she's brilliant at parking. I've got to have a drop of tea. My mouth is dry. Hold up. Oh, yeah, that's better. So redirect. So what happened was we're in this busy area of town, and we want to have a little walk around. So my wife says, "Oh, there's a space there." Well, actually, comes up. This guy comes right up, freaking behind her, and my wife goes into, "Well, I'm going to take this spot, so he's going to have to go around me." And I'm like, "Oh no." Because my wife gets a little road rage, yeah. It's like, oh no. So what did I do? Take out one of the senses. So I closed my eyes. So I couldn't see what was actually going on. I could just feel the car moving and shit like that. While I'm hearing my wife going, "What's with this guy coming right up my ass?" And I'm like, oh no. And I've got these visions of the guy coming up and tapping on the window or something, you know, and I'm like, oh no, I really don't need this, please. I'm working on myself. Oh no. But I just closed my eyes. I just freaking closed my eyes and took one of my senses out because, hey, shit, now it doesn't, my brain is like, feels the movement, but it ain't got a freaking clue what's going on. All it knows is my hearing, right? And I can't exactly freaking block that out, not even with freaking sound cancelling headphones, I don't think, because you're so damn close. They can whisper in a car and you could hear them, right? So no, I take one of the senses out. If there's a sound that's making and, doing your head in or whatever, get yourself away from it if you can. Get out for a walk or, if there's like arguing going on or whatever and you don't want to be around and you can't, it's like doing your head in. Get out, go for a walk or something. Get out of the way of the sound, right? So it's a matter of just using your, redirecting your senses. And then, then being able to tune into other stuff, like I say, like the music and something like that. Redirect. Always keep redirecting. But anyway, I want to get on to some stories with my blimey, with my missus, yeah, because she makes me bloody laugh. I tell you what, she really does. And this one place that we parked up at is a really cool area, and there's a load of little cool shops, like antique shops as well, and really cool little places. And so we get out of the car. And we're walking up the street, there's this it looks like a little house. It's lovely. And had a nice little garden outside and shit like that. And my wife's like, oh, and she looks at it and she goes, I kind of, oh, good God. As we were approaching up, I can hear my wife's kind of interested in it. And she goes, oh, 80% off. So I go, do you want to go in and have a look? Well, as the words like, you can't grab sound back from somebody's ear hole, right? If their lug hole hears it, right, you're like in trouble. Or they don't quite hear it, right? But if you're looking at an antique shop or a charity shop or something like that, and you're trying to scramble something back from my wife from hearing, would you like to go in there? You got absolutely no chance. She's going to hear that. You ain't getting out of it. Oh, that's not what I meant. So in this little antique shop we go, and I'm like, bloody hell, there's a lot of bleeding breaking here. There was bits and pieces and freaking glass everywhere, and I'm like, oh no, shit, there was a few interesting little bits in there, and all of a sudden my wife ain't behind me, and I thought, oh no, she's found something. Oh no. So I turn around and I go walking over, and she's crouching down, and she's like, here, look at these frames. And I'm like, oh yeah, sweet. And she's like, they're only $5 a piece, which I've got to say, they're good bloody frames. It would cost you a bit more fucking log, a little bit on the old fucking, on the old prices in a shop, right? a little bit more money, I must admit. So when she's like, oh, well, we end up with 3 of those, and one of them was a frame and it had a picture of a dog in it, right? Well, my missus wants it for the frame. So we go up to the counter and the guy goes, oh, that's a nice picture of the dog. And my wife goes, yeah, isn't it? And she says to me, yeah, I ain't staying in there though. Not in front of him, but when we got in the car, I'm like, oh shit. So that was the first bit. And then there was a storm freaking brewing and coming in. So when we come out of there, we walked down the street a little bit. And there was this record shop. Holy shit, this place was banging, man. Banging. Vinyl record place that was absolutely killer. And it was called the Rock and Roll something. I'll have to look it up. So they was playing rock and roll music, like 50s rock and roll music in the street. There was a speaker out there and it was playing. I think I've got some video or something. I'll have to put it up on Instagram. But so I said to me, Missy, you want to go in here? So she's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right. Well, when we opened the door and I stepped in, I'm like, holy shit, I transported back to areas like record shops, vinyl record shops in London where you just, you'd go and look for your sections and start leafing through the vinyl, or you heard about something that had just hit in the music and the freaking album was coming out. And then there might be collectors like special editions and shit like that you would look for, or certain years and first copies and all kinds, right? They would have, you could spend hours in one of those places. And not only was it just the record shop, it had different areas. So there was like, there was one with the tapes, the freaking tapes, the 90-minute, 120-minute, I can't remember where they go, the 240, I can't remember how high they went, but these, when you had the bleeding tape decks. I remember my first Walkman was a freaking full-size tape deck thing, and I was all proud of it because it was called Walkman. It was one of the small. I used to get comments like, blimey, that's small, because it literally was the size of tape. But they had that in there. He had shit all around the walls. He had freaking, holy crap, this place was banging. And then he had another area that I didn't go back in there, because you probably wouldn't have got me out there, but it was all like VHS tapes and all that shit from what I could see. And I had a quick butchers around the heavy metal section, and then I went over to the reggae section, and I was flashing back. So as I'm over to the reggae section, I'm taking pictures and shit in there, and this fella comes up, and he's like, "Can I help you with anything, guys?" And I turn around to him, and I'm like, "Dude, this shop is banging." And he goes, "Oh, you like?" And I'm like, "Holy shit!" I said, "I freaking flash back to different places in London when I'm standing there leafing through freaking. I could see the record shops and shit." And he's like, "Yeah, I get told that a lot." They'd been there for absolutely freaking years. I forget how long he said, but they'd been there for, and I didn't know nothing about this gaff, nothing about it. And so I get talking to the fella a little bit, and I'm like, "Mate, this is freaking an amazing shop." I'm like, I'm really enjoying it in here. And I said, "And the shit that you got around the walls," and he giggles and he goes, "Oh yeah, right." And I'm like looking at it, going, "Holy crap!" It was just the atmosphere of this place. If you've never been into a vinyl record shop, it's sad that some people haven't experienced it, because when you go into a place like that, where it's just that, I don't know. There's something about it. And I used to sometimes buy albums because the cover art was brilliant. I used to have this, the Great Rock and Roll Swindle by the Sex Pistols, and it was a fold-out album. And it had like a poster in it I used to have on my wall of a cartoon of them, and it was a banging. The album's great, and I even got offered freaking money from my punk mate. He's like, "Dude, I'll buy it off you," because you couldn't get it. I don't know where that album is now, but it's memories like that. Like, shit, I remember that album, or I remember that cover, or the music. Absolute banging place, this gaff. Really cool place. And so anyway, as we were walking around this record shop, it's funny as shit, man. We walked down a bit, and this guy, this fella, is like walking behind me, and I think he's the owner, this guy. So he's walking behind me as we're walking down, and all of a sudden I'm looking at some albums, actually Depeche Mode. I was like looking at prices, and then there was a freaking the Cult. There was a Cult album on the freaking wall. I took pictures of it, and I'm like, "How much is that?" It was like $30 or something, And you're like, "Shit!" I think it was called
What was that one? The cult album, Electric Dream, was it, or something? I can't remember now. My mate will kill me. My cult mate, Davey boy. Oi, oi. But anyway, while we were in there, my wife, the phone starts ringing, and my kids were out down at the beach, my girls, and she grabs her phone and she goes, "Oh, it's my youngest," and she gets it caught somehow it was like on her pocket or something, and it was weird the way it was caught. And she's like, "Can you help me out? I can't get." She couldn't get it up without ripping her shit, right? So I'm like, and I couldn't figure it out. And the geezer behind me, he goes, do you want a knife? And I turn around, I'm like, "You got an axe?" And he goes, "Do you need a big Bowie knife?" I'm like, and we're standing there laughing. But those are the moments that make up for those. They're the things that you use. I might not ever have that. Well, I won't. I'll never have that moment again with that guy at that time and my wife. I mean, it ended up that my wife, it was weird as shit, because as soon as she kind of relaxed it and went to put it back in her pocket to say, "Oh, okay, this we're going to have to call my daughter on your phone, Steve," it came off. It just slipped off, and it was cool. It was good to go, which was strange as shit that it just, So the fella, he's laughing, we're having a right laugh. And it's those moments that, you've been present with those things. And my wife was laughing her ass off, and I'm freaking trying to unpin this thing and the phone, and I'm like, "Oh no, it's all going tits up." But it just made I got to meet this fella, and so anyway, we come out of the record shop, absolute blinding time in the record shop. And then we're like, "Let's go and grab a coffee." So we found this really cool, bloody little coffee place. Well, I remember me telling you about my wife, whose parking is brilliant, right? So we come down towards passing. We had to drive around the block a bit. We're coming up towards where the coffee place was. And by the way, this place was freaking killer and all. I put a shout out to them on my Instagram. Go and check it out. If you go to my link tree in the bottom, you can go across all my platforms. And I gave a shout out to this coffee place, because it was a banging little coffee place, out of the ordinary a little bit. Go walking in there. I'm gonna bung them in the thing and all. I think I can't remember if I wrote them down on the back. Let me write that down now so I don't forget. So anyway, banging little place. The fella was a killer, and he's like telling us about what they do. He goes, "Have you been here before?" Like, "No." And there's like screens on the walls where they're showing you, big to shout to Dan Cov again, because you'd love this place, matey. And then I got talking to the fella, and I noticed over in the corner, I actually thought a 30-year-old Grom. I was looking over in the corner, and there was this like photography equipment all set up. And I'm like, "Oh shit." And I start like the big freaking lighting, lamps, and like really, you could tell it was like for shooting, right? And I start looking at some of the pictures, and there's some landscape pictures on the walls that were like just gorgeous, awesome freaking pictures. And my wife goes up to the phone, and she's like, "Oh, what's with the photography stuff?" And he goes, "Oh, the owner is into it." And we're like, "Oh," and then he goes, and he took all these pictures around the walls. Holy shit, they were good. I'm like, "Oh," I said to the fella, "I was wondering, when you said that, whether these," and he goes, "Yeah," he said he took all these pictures. And then because of me being completely plant-based, we're looking at a coffee list, and we're a little bit lost, and I'm like, have you, I forget what I had, but it's, he introduced me. Always learn from people, yeah? Always talk to people and become social with people. Don't keep ordering the shit online and going and picking it up. There's no connection. So I just start talking to this fella, and he knew I was plant-based, and he goes, "Have you had this taro?" And I've eaten taro, but this was like some kind of like it wasn't syrup. It was like a milk, but very, very thick, like a condensed milk, if you've had condensed milk. And it was taro, and he goes, taste it. And I tried it, and it weren't like really sweet, but it had a really nice, creamy taste to it. And I'm like, wow, that is like phenomenal. And so he introduced me to that, and I got this coffee. It was absolutely banging. So big shout out. But anyway, when we got there and my wife's parking, as she's trying to get it into this spot, she's going forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Literally, right? We must have gone backwards and forwards about 6 or 8 times. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? So I like shut my eyes again. And I'm like, oh my God. And now my wife's laughing, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I parked it in there all right. And I'm like, yeah, you did, but I'm like freaking getting a bit seasick. It's like, holy shit. But big shout out to the friggin', the coffee gaff. And then we went to a Latin place, where they do all the produce, and holy, this place is banging. Like, forget your bloody big stores, guys. Get out there to your local people if you can. And these guys are absolutely banging. I'd like to use these guys more, actually, because their produce is really good and fresh. They've got all different types of, cultures, stuff, especially Latin. Absolutely, the music's Latin in there, has got a good vibe to it. People are willing to help you out. I went to where all the beans are. They got every single freaking bean imaginable. What's the word? Imaginable. There you go. Amazing gaff, right? So we bought some stuff out of there. And then we got to go down to our little Asian marketplace, which is absolutely banging place, killer little place. And they're getting to know us in there a little bit because we were in there quite a lot because we do like our Asian food. We really do. And they help us out in there if we can't find something because they get to know us. Anyway, so we go in there. My wife wants these square rice papers. Because you can make vegan bacon from them, apparently. Don't ask me. I've got no idea. I'm just the messenger. But anyway, we're looking. So she gives me these, you don't want to bend them or anything. So she gives me these. I don't know why we didn't get a bloody basket, to tell you the truth, because there I am, Mr. Muppet. I'm walking around my wife, and my wife's like, yeah. And I'm like freaking I got like two hands, and I've got the damn rice papers like in between 2 fingers while I'm holding on to this other thing. Try not to drop it. Right. At the same time, I don't want to move my fingers too much and bend the rice paper and snap it. And then my wife turns around at me. I couldn't believe it. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, how on earth do you think I'm going to freaking grab that as well? Well, you shove it up my arse, I'll carry it. It's like, blimey, you're putting me through some shit, man. But anyway, it was an absolute blast of a day. Had a really good bloody time. Tune in on a Sunday. Come into my channel, 11 a.m. Eastern US time. That's 4 p.m. GMT time on my YouTube channel. Go and give me a follow, guys, if you would. Give me some love, yeah? This is just a lovely thing for me to be able to do and share some stories, and I hope you get some help out of it. Again, go and check out Jobeth's channel. Go and check out Beckett Johnson's channel. It's a really good, like I said, that interview with the dad was really good. I watched it this morning. And I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I know my Saturday has been really good, plus my Friday night. Much love to my friend out there that I went out with. It was an absolute blast. I had a great time. Been a while since I've been at the theatre as well. And then got the old surprise from my friend getting the front seats, which was absolute banging. I knew nothing about it. Much love, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for tuning in.